Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
The KFH Studios, powered by Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
Traffic volumes picking up here in the Wichita area. We do have some areas of heavy traffic right now. Lincoln, just a little ways east and west of Hillside. A lot of traffic running there. Traffic update from 98.7 at 1330 KNSS. I'm Jad Chambers.
Weather.
A few showers and thunderstorms going to be possible early this morning. Severe weather not expected, though. The rest of the day, partly cloudy skies, a lot warmer during the afternoon, high of 84 degrees. Wind's going to be a lot stronger, too, leading to elevated fire danger today. With your Storm Track 3 forecast, I'm meteorologist Ron Williams.
97.5 and 1240 KFH. Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita. KNSS HD2 Clearwater, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey, Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily, coming up next, exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
I'm Taylor Bishotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Russell Wilson was officially introduced as the Giants quarterback Wednesday after signing a one-year, $10.5 million contract with up to $21 million in incentives. Wilson saying that he expects to be the starter and believes the Giants are looking for someone to lead them in every way in terms of the process in the offseason, during the season, and in building a winning culture. Meantime, no agreement has been made between Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers after his recent visit to the team facility last week. Defensive tackle Cam Hayward joined NFL Network's Good Morning Football Wednesday and said, while he hasn't had any contact with Rodgers at this point, he would say, if you come to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the goal is to win. We haven't had the success we want, but the goal is still in the mind to raise a Lombardi and bring that seventh one to Pittsburgh. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, yes, it is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Castor, and we're glad to be with you on what we're deeming the sports day of the year on the calendar as we get the Sweet 16 on in the men's tournament and we get opening day for Major League Baseball. We have a ton to cover today in college basketball and on the diamond, and we can't wait to do it. We're ready for it. It's opening day. We're a couple of baseball guys getting ready for baseball. And I couldn't be happier about it. We'll get you the Royals preview. We will dig in deep. We'll go through everything with the Royals here as they play today, 3 o'clock. You'll hear it right here on KFH against the Cleveland Guardians. Looking forward to that. And the NCAA tournament back in action. Sweet 16, 4 games tonight, on to the Elite 8. Here we go. This is where the tournament, for the basketball reasons, gets really, really good. And I think it's a great Sweet 16. We got Max Power in studio producing for us. He is taking your calls at 869-1240. We are live on 12 News Connected. We've got you covered on Facebook, YouTube, and X. You can leave us video comments there, and you can leave us voice messages if you're listening to us on the Odyssey app. It's a great way to interact with the show. If you can't do it right now, you can leave that voice message anytime. We'll get that. Max can play those out over the air. We'll give away some HTO today, so make sure you stay tuned for your chance to win some HTO. We got all kinds of good stuff. Thanks, Prairie Fire Coffee, for getting us fueled up. The caffeine, maybe not as needed today, Tommy, because we're fired up either way
good.
for
Hey,
this day.
Can you smell it? Can you smell the spring in the air?
No, it's allergy season. I can't smell anything. Haven't been able to for about 2 weeks.
Had some thunderstorms roll through a couple hours ago. I walked out to my car this morning. It smelled like spring rain.
Did we get a little rain last night?
A little bit of rain. A lot of lightning, actually. I know you haven't emerged from your dungeon yet this morning, clearly. But had a little bit of lightning, a little bit of thunderstorm rolling through. But it smells and feels like spring. It's opening day. Spring is in the air. Sweet 16 games. Like it's an exciting. It was kind of almost like Christmas Eve last night. Like I had a hard time going to sleep. Looking forward to getting into it today.
Yeah, I did too. It was not an easy night. I really am excited. I love opening day. I fall into that camp of weirdos, I guess. I think it should be a national holiday. I think we should celebrate this day of baseball. And then you throw in the Sweet 16 on it, which for the basketball purposes, all the fun and the fanfare and everything, give me the first 2 rounds for that. I prefer that, for all of that stuff. But once it just becomes basketball, let's go, because we've got some great games tonight. We've got some great games. There's not a bad game in the Sweet 16 that you couldn't see going either way, right? Like you could see this going either way, and there's storylines abound. BYU Alabama could score 1 billion points. Can Maryland take down Florida while their coach is rumored to be a candidate for another job already and who's sidestepping all the questions, Kevin Willard, as we get mad at players for tampering and entering the portal? This would be what now, the 3rd coach that's on to 4th coach that's on to somewhere else while his team's still playing. So give me a break. I don't want to hear it, because coaches have been doing this since the beginning of time.
North Texas, I believe, just lost their coach to West Virginia. He's the new West Virginia coach.
Okay.
And North Texas is still playing in the NIT. And so they've already announced him as the new West Virginia coach and all that. So, I mean, like, this stuff is happening all over the place.
I mean, like, for real, Will Wade basically said he's taking the NC State job while his team was still playing.
Mm-hmm.
Ben McCollum had the Iowa job locked up about, 24 hours after his team was done playing.
He had it locked up before then, let's be real.
Yeah, we've got Kevin Willard right now, who won't answer the question if he's sticking around at Maryland or going to take the Villanova job right now, and they're still playing in the Sweet 16. And this stuff happens all the time, yet we get annoyed when the players are being, spoken to while their teams are still playing. Like, this is the double standard garbage we've been talking about forever, that we talked about for a long time yesterday. Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, all that's happening now is like a reflection of what's been happening before. It's the way it is. And I don't care if Kevin Willard goes to Villanova or not. I think he can very much interview for that job while focusing on this job. No issue there. If he wants to, or somebody wants to pay whatever buyout, like whatever, I think it can be done. I think it can be done for the players too. Doesn't mean I like it either way. I would love for Villanova to get popped for talking to Kevin Willard before his team's done playing. It's not
I don't know
happen.
why, if you're Kevin Willard, though, why you would go to Villanova. I understand that they've won
something with the athletic. I
get it, but like Maryland,
there's some. It's not job. It's
right?
It's got something apparently to do with the athletic department, mishaps or something. I don't know. I agree with you. Maryland's as good a job as Villanova. But that was what I read, is it has something to do with their athletic department was a mess, and he helped clean it up, and maybe he's tired of it. Who knows?
Like this is not Jay Wright's Villanova anymore. They have fallen on tougher times since Jay Wright left a couple of years ago. And Kevin Willard's a good enough coach that he can probably get him back. But man, like if I'm him, I've got Maryland in the Sweet 16, and in competing in a Power 4 conference in the Big Ten. And I don't know why it would go to Villanova.
I think that's why. I mean, I think they're just that hadn't been a great couple of years. I mean, Kevin Willard's been pretty good. He was pretty good at Seton Hall. They consistently made the tournament. And then at Maryland, he said, "Yeah, I think he's done a nice job there.
He has done a really good job.
Tournament appearances.
I feel like at best it's a lateral move, for him. But hey,
yeah,
if there are other things going on inside that athletic department at Maryland, and he's got to get out, then I guess it is what it is.
Whatever. I don't care. I want to see him play Florida. It's one of the many reasons, by the way, that I like Florida tonight. It's one of the bets that I'll make. I like Florida -6. A distracted coach doesn't change my mind for that. So there we go. We'll talk about our bets on that. We'll talk about some baseball bets.
Let's talk baseball.
I'm not a huge baseball bettor, but it's opening day. We got to find something. We got to put something together for you for Major League Baseball. There's probably promos galore on all the bettings. We got to take advantage of this in every way that we can.
I think we ought to also take a moment at some point during the show and, throw out who our champions.
Yeah, let's do the predictions.
Yep. Maybe even division winners, wild card teams, if we want to. I mean, it's that day. Like, we've got today to do that. And then, what was the old saying with the Chicago Cubs? They could never win a championship and they lose their first game. And the fans always said, hey, there's always next year. But we've got today. Like, the games haven't even started yet. It's a clean slate for everybody.
We'll do that this hour. We're going to talk about the Royals. We'll dig into the Royals when we come back, and then we'll dig into baseball as a whole when we continue on in this hour. Tim Fitzgerald, our KState Insider, is going to join us. We'll catch up on the latest with the Cats in the portal. We asked Shreyas Lotta yesterday if KU might be interested in Quincy Ballard, who is leaving Wichita State by all accounts. What about K-State? It makes even more sense. So we'll talk to Fitz, who's coming back. Is anybody coming back at this point? Do we know? And what are they doing out there in the portal to bring some players in? So that's all coming for you today. Again, 869-1240. You can leave us your comments on the video stream. All kinds of good stuff for you on this Thursday. Holy moly. Buckle up, everybody. It's just like the best. It's the best. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk Royals next.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
KFH.
Welcome back in, everybody. Glad to be here with you on Sports Bay Daily. Major League Baseball is back, and here on KFH, we've got Royals baseball for you all season long. Opening day today. You can tune in to 97.5 and 1240 KFH for Royals baseball at 3 o'clock, hosting the Cleveland Guardians. Listen by downloading the app right here over the air on the app at Odyssey.com. Search for KFH. Lots of different ways to do it. Here we go, Tommy. It is Major League Baseball season. The Royals coming off an 86-win wild card year. The big question now is, can they repeat the performance? I think that they can. 86 wins is probably the floor of what it would take to get back to the postseason. They're predicted to have about 83. When we look at it last year, we talked about in the spring, this team was offensively gifted, right? The best in baseball in most offensive categories outside of like home runs. But all the other ones, runs and batting average and OPS and all of this stuff, they have been the tops in baseball all spring long. That, I think, is the biggest area that we're not talking enough about, Tommy, that they can grow this year. We got to remember Vinny Pasquantino was hurt for a lot of last year. We have to remember two of the key bats in the middle of their lineup that were key contributors late got off to just absolutely dreadful starts. And now we look at this and there's all that room. They were basically a league average offense just about across the board last year. Tommy, I think they can get into that top 7 or 8 teams offensively in baseball, this team. And I don't even think that's a stretch, right? I think that's very achievable. Even if they didn't add Jonathan India, who is looking like a perfect fit so far, Hunter Renfroe, MJ Melendez, you really think they're going to get off to that slow a start again? Vinny Pasquantino, same thing. I doubt it. I doubt it. And so I think there's room to become a much, much, much better offense for this team. And that's where it starts for my optimism with them this year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to keep our eyes on is how quick of a start overall does the team go on. Because remember, even though Hunter Renfrow and MJ Melendez and even Vinny Pasquantino, to your point, had a really slow start offensively to the 2024 season, the Royals were still winning games on the backs of their rotation. So that it was not a fool's gold scenario because they were still winning games early on. I think it helped mask the fact that offensively, outside of the 2 and 3 hole position, or really, I mean, if you want to look at it, mainly Bobby Witt Jr. and then Salvador Perez, outside of those two guys, offensively, there wasn't a whole lot of production going on. It was a revolving door at the leadoff spot and all of that. They were winning games despite the clear deficiencies that they had offensively. So I think that it's okay to have optimism in that regard, because I think that even if, let's just say that, Renfrow and Melendez kind of get off to the same sort of start they went off to last year, hopefully they don't, but if they do, there are enough reinforcements now in that lineup to help compensate for that on that side of it. And then the pitching staff, and I'm looping in the bullpen to this as well, the pitching staff still remains pretty strong as a whole. And so I do think that you've got ways to compensate if you do have a scenario where a handful of players get off to slow starts like they did last year.
The Chiefs up in Kansas City get so much credit for the work they do in the off seasons, but man, I got to tell you, like the other team in town, JJ Piccolo has done an unreal job with the roster. Yes, the depth behind those guys is just a little bit better for sure. But like, you've got these stories all over the place of like good fits for their players now with this current group. I love the fact that they have Freddie Fermin and they utilize him the way that they do. Maikel Garcia is going to get enough chances to take that next step in his career. And if he doesn't, guess what? They now have plenty of room and plenty of backup, to get somebody else in there. They've done a really nice job constructing this group of players. They're insanely talented at the top of the lineup. So I'm with you. And yes, the rotation, while it is my bigger concern, for if we're going to have one, I don't like the rotation. I still like the rotation a great deal. But when they traded Singer, I was concerned. You're taking away the strength of the team a year ago and what really raised their floor basically last year. But what they did was they went and put together what I think will end up being one of the better bullpens in baseball. Tommy, their bullpen is loaded. That work started last year at the trade deadline, right? They now have, and everything happens for a reason, I suppose. You go trade all the assets for Hunter Harvey, gets hurt, and then it forces you to go trade for Ursic. Well, now you got Harvey back, seemingly. You go and you grab Estevez somehow. Not sure even how that happened. Now you can use Ursic in where we really saw him be the most valuable last year, and that's like, oh crap, we're in a mess. Like, go get Ursic, see if he can get us out of this thing. Like, that was his great ability last year. You still have James MacArthur. And then they still have all the other guys that now situationally become much better. You've got Sam Long and Angel Zerpa as lefties, right? And then remember Schreiber and how effective he was when he came back? Remember that Stratton has just kind of been a winner? Like, there are guys all over this bullpen. You also got Lynch as a lefty. There are guys all over this bullpen. Like, they're loaded in the bullpen now, which is crazy to imagine when we think back to last year and how bad they were in that department.
Yeah, it's huge. I said it the other day that I feel like the bullpen is set up to be one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball, at least on paper. We'll see how it, actually turns out.
Bullpens are weird, right? I get it.
You never know, but at least they're, for right now, as we're kicking off the season, there should be a sense of calm, at least right now, going into the season with the bullpen, which was a clear Achilles heel for the Royals the first half of the season. It stabilized with the addition of Lucas Ursic at the trade deadline. But before that, like, it was all over the place. And it was like on the edge of your seat night in and night out, being like, man, like they can't go to anybody in this bullpen and feel confident that they're going to be able to get out of it unscathed. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. It was always, I guess, exciting if you want to put a positive spin on it, but it was extremely stressful. I can only imagine the way that it was for Matt Quatraro sitting there in the dugout every night, like, you know, basically crossing his fingers and toes, like, are we going to get out of this game with a win? On the backs of fantastic starting pitching for the most part. And then, you know, you just can't ride your starters all the time. You've got to go to some other guys. And there was really nobody reliable, at least in the beginning part of the season. That's a clear strength for the Royals. But again, I go back to this season. I go back to the way they started last year. Remember, they got off to a great start overall. And again, I'll point it out. It was despite the clear deficiencies. It was despite the lack of offensive production outside of Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez. It was despite the fact that they had a shaky at best bullpen. They were still able to find ways to win games, and they were able to then maintain their lead in the division and in the playoff hunt throughout the rest of the season. So it shows me, going back a year, that they didn't have to be a perfect team to win games. And in the areas that they needed to improve in, they were able to improve. And you mentioned Jonathan India at the top of the lineup. That's been a massive addition, at least through spring training, and hopefully will carry over into the regular season. They've got added depth now, offensively at least. And, you know, I know we haven't talked much about it, and I know it doesn't really move the needle for you, but I think Mark Canha coming over is big because he's a veteran bat. It adds additional depth. And what the guy has lacked in power, he makes up for in getting on base. He's a reliable guy to get on base, and that's important. And the fact that he's been able to do that through the course of his career, and even in a limited showing in spring training with the Royals, they needed somebody, you know, whether or not he's starting or pinch hitting or whatever, coming off the bench, him getting on base, especially in high leverage late game situations, that's definitely a valuable asset that the Royals now have. And he's not the only one, but there have been several others that they've been able to, you know, bring up and feel like they've got more weapons offensively than they had a year ago.
I mean, I agree. And can you just imagine if somebody like Michael Garcia goes back to his form of 2023? Right? When he was a 270 hitter. Not the best player in baseball, but he's fast. He runs. He's got a little pop potential. Like there is so much wiggle. Here's what it feels like to me. It feels like 2014, 2015, in the sense that everything that happened last year sort of built to this year, right? And I remember 2015 because the expectation had been set. Now, that team in 14 made the World Series, but you had all of this stuff sort of come together. They kind of played through it. The Royals were more aggressive last year than they were in 2014, but I also envision very much a world where the Royals are near the top of the American League all year and get real aggressive at the trade deadline if they need to. Right. I don't think they're going to hold anything back. I think, and I mean, they just don't really need to, right? Like everything's there. If they need to go get one particular thing, I think they can attack it. And I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse. They're picked right now, tied for third in the division, 83 wins, all these things. But I just don't see it. I couldn't be more optimistic about the way it all fits together. And I'm so happy now that the top concern when they traded Singer is alleviated through the bullpen and through Lorenzen. Like the difference in Singer's been really good. He's been a little inconsistent, but if you look at the numbers and where he stacks up to the American League last year, he was a well above average pitcher in your 4-hole. I don't want to say Lorenzen and Singer are a wash, but it's not that far off. It helps, right? But it's the bullpen that I'm like, man, these guys that they leaned so heavy on last year, who all pitched more innings than they've ever pitched before, which is frightening, now don't have to do that this year, in theory. Like now you can go into this year, cut it loose, and you can turn it over. I don't know what the order is going to be on the back end of the bullpen. I have no idea how that looks. And maybe there isn't
Jalen Thompson has told us that it sounds like Estevez will be
Right.
the
I
closer.
mean, on
He'll
do
end the
you
game.
have that set 7, 8, 9? Is it Harvey, Ursig, Estevez? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think they need to do that because now they've got these lefties. They've got Ursig who can kind of come in. Hell, Ursig can come in and bail you out in the 4th inning if you need to. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know how that shakes out. I just know that they have so many more arms back there than they've had in 4 years. Like, it's been a long time since they've been able to run a bullpen out there like this. Bullpens are weird. They got to perform. I think the offense provides this team the floor. I think the starting pitching, we'll see. We'll see. Everybody hit innings limits and innings highs last year. I think it's still very good. But I think the bullpen
they don't need to be where they were.
They don't. That's what I agree.
That's
I totally agree.
They don't have to do. And that's, again, a credit to JJ Piccolo and
Yes.
crafting this team and building the reinforcements for the bullpen. I think, honestly, that's the biggest reason why the bullpen looks the way that it does to start this season is not necessarily because they felt like it was shaky at times earlier in the year last season. That was probably part of it. But I think it was more about we've got to give more support to our starters. We cannot expect Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans to throw more innings than they should, or any of these other guys in the rotation, to be honest with you. So I think that's a major reason why they went out and got Estevez, and they were able to make some of those reinforcements in the bullpen and just, really stabilize things that way. The biggest thing for me, and this is even like less about the actual balls and strikes and the performance on the field. The biggest difference for me between last season and this season on opening day, there were no expectations last year. Like, they were coming off of a 106 loss season in 2023. I think everybody expected there to be a little bit of improvement with Bobby Witt Jr. going into his sophomore season and all of that. But there were no postseason expectations. There was nothing like this team should be taking a major step forward and whatever. Like, it was kind of like, well, we'll just kind of let it ride and see what happens. And hopefully we see nominal improvement from this team. And then all of a sudden they were playing with house money. They started winning. They kept winning, and they made the playoffs, and they won a playoff series. This season on opening day, there are expectations, right? Like, I was thinking about it earlier this morning. I'm like, man, what would feel like a success from a wins-losses perspective when the season ends? And I'm like, man, it's got to be over 90 wins, 90 or above for me, because where'd they finish last year? 80, 85, 86. So you would like to think with the reinforcements that they had in the offseason and everything that they addressed and lead off and bullpen and all of that, I think a fair expectation would be 90 wins or above in an AL Central that they should win this year. And that's
AL
different.
Central's going to be good this year.
They're good every year, but there are 4 teams that I think could have a shot to win that division, just like there was a season ago outside of the White Sox. But I think that's fair. I think it's fair to say, after what we saw from them last year, I want to see 90 wins or above from this team.
We're just going to look. Yeah, see, okay, so here's why I think it's just where they were last year at 86. I just pulled this up, like wins, total wins, and the odds of it. You said 90. Man, there's only 4 teams across baseball that are getting that kind of run. The Dodgers, the Braves, which actually surprises me. Did I miss something on the Braves this offseason? We'll talk about that next segment. The Dodgers, the Braves, the Phillies, and the Mets. That's it. Those are the only teams right now getting 90-plus wins in Vegas.
I mean, there's got to be an American League team or two in there.
Right? I know. Well, or is the American League so even that there's not one?
I don't think we're going to see that. There will be a team or 2 or 3 that win 90 games.
Well, right. Year. No, I'm not saying there won't be. I mean, last year you saw the Yankees win 94, the Orioles won 91, the Guardians got over 90, and that's it. There were 3.
Yeah.
So are the Royals the top 3 team in the American League? I think that they are.
I think they are.
I think they are.
I don't know why. I don't know for what reason we would sit here on opening day after what we saw last year and then what we've seen from the offseason, and the fact, and I know it's spring training, and the fact that they've been the best offense during spring training, why we would sit here and hedge a little bit and say, well,
I'm going to say 86. I'm going to put it right where it was last year. And I think because I think there's regression coming in the starting rotation. Now, I think the Royals are going to the postseason. I think the Royals can win the World Series. But if I'm trying to and I'm not, how many do I think they win and what do I think their like baseline number would be? And maybe this doesn't even make sense, is a little different. I think the baseline number should be like if the Royals come out and win 87 games this year, I don't think I'll be disappointed, even if it means they don't make the playoffs. How many wins do I think that they'll have? I'll put it at 92. But that's a hard.
Remember they were pacing for over 90 wins last season before Vinny Pasquantino went down with injury. So I mean, obviously, like crazy things can happen, and you never know.
That's what I mean, I guess.
But they were pacing towards that with the team with all the deficiencies they had a season ago. Great starting pitching, shaky bullpen. I mean, even though Ursig was there towards the end, Hunter Harvey was injured. They didn't have Estevez at that point. Like, they didn't have the bullpen that they have now, and they had clear issues in the lineup, especially the bottom half of the lineup, and it was a revolving door in the leadoff spot. And Vinny Pasquantino then got hurt. They limped their way into the playoffs, and they still won 86 games. Like, I don't think that it is unfair to look at the Royals this season with this roster and with what they put together and say, yeah, this should be at least a 90-win team.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's unfair. I just think I don't want to be disappointed if they don't win 90, and if they win 87, I think I'd still be happy. Is all I'm saying. I think they'll win more than that. I think they'll win, 91, 92 games or whatever it is this year. It's there. There's no reason right now, there's no reason that they shouldn't. They've got an ascending Bobby Witt Jr. Salvi's got plenty left in the tank. You'd think Vinny Pasquantino is ascending. So what do we think? Now we'll get into the real predictions. That's where we head next. Our Major League Baseball prediction edition next on Sports Daily.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20-plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day. Stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
KFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody. You want to win some HTO? You can do it right now. Just text the keyword T to 20357. That's T to 20357. Get your free cup of iced tea, more than 26 flavors. These good for East Wichita, West Wichita, or Derby. Good luck, everybody. Message and data rates apply. You can enter once per day. We come back. Let's predict a little baseball, Tommy. We'll just take it division by division. We'll go American League, National League here. We'll start in the Royals division in the AL Central. I think we will agree on this. Look, I'm picking the Royals to win the division. I'm picking the Royals to win the division. I think that they've done more than any other team around them. I think the Twins will be very good. I think the Tigers are a wild card completely with all the young players and young talent they have coming up through the system, but I don't think they'll repeat last year. White Sox are still going to stink, and the Guardians will always be the Guardians, but I've got the Royals. What say you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Royals as well. There's really no reason for me to think that they can't duplicate what they did a season ago. I think the main caveat to that is going to be the Twins and how great their young players end up being, and if they're able to get to a point to where they certainly can come in to the big league squad and help the team right away. I know they've got a really solid farm system and all of that, and so I think that that's going to be a caveat for me. The Tigers, they've got young pitching, and Tarek Skubal is phenomenal. I think that they'll make the playoffs too. The Guardians, I think, you look at them from top to bottom, and last season at least, there wasn't a whole lot to really jump off the page at me about the Guardians. They just won, right? It wasn't like they were stacked with superstars or there was something about them that really stood out as being this amazing team. They just won baseball games. I think they'll probably regress a little bit. So I'll take the Royals to win the division.
All right, let's go out east in the American League. It was the Yankees and the Orioles last year. Boston feels like they've made a lot of progress. I think, this is hard. I think the Yankees without Garrett Cole. I'm gonna go Baltimore. I'm gonna go Baltimore here as my division winner. So many great young position players. Can they pitch enough is the big question. This is where you look at the Royals when you stack them up against the rest of the American League, Tommy, and I think they have more pitching than a lot of these teams. The Corbin Burns, no, he's in Arizona now, right? Like, he's out there. Garrett Cole's not that. I don't know. I'll take Baltimore. Boston's the team to watch, though, here, because Boston does have a little bit of pitching. They're just young, but I'll stick with Baltimore.
Yeah, remember that the Yankees not only lost Garrett Cole to that injury, but also they don't have Juan Soto anymore either. And so, like, they lost their best pitcher and their second best hitter after Aaron Judge for the season. And so I think that the Yankees will probably make the playoffs still, but I don't have them winning the division. I'm going to agree with you and say Baltimore with all their young talent. They were exciting last season. I think that that continues. I think that I remember saying when Baltimore got bounced from the playoffs last season, I remember thinking to myself and saying, I think on this show, they'll be back. Like, they were maybe a year too early, but they are establishing themselves as a legitimate, consistent threat in the American League. I'm going to take Baltimore. I'm not ready yet to say anything about Boston. They made a ton of changes and a ton of additions in the offseason, but we have no idea how that's going to pan out for them. And I think the other two teams in the division are too far away. I think the Blue Jays, they've got talent, but I don't think that they're going to be able to compete in the division. And Tampa Bay, I don't have on my radar.
Blue Jays have to win more than 74 games. But that was such a disappointing year for them. I think they got to come up a little bit. I mean, Boston was an 81. They were a 500 team last year that seemed to get better. I think they're one to watch for sure. And then in the American League West, it's going to be a battle of attrition. Now, I don't know that anybody got better. The Rangers lineup should be one of the best in baseball, if not the best in baseball. It might be the deepest, but they've already had a bunch of pitching injuries. Jacob deGrom's there. I'm going to pick the Rangers and just hope like hell as a Rangers fan that deGrom can give them something this year. They brought back Nathan Eovaldi. They've got a couple of young starters, but they're thin in the rotation, and their bullpen might be a hot garbage mess, but I think they have enough offense. I think the Astros got worse. The Mariners, I want to pick the Mariners. I want to say the Mariners, but they always underachieve. And then I think the Angels and the A's aren't very good.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick the A's. I'm not going to pick the Angels. The Rangers, to your point, they've got a really, really deep lineup. And for that reason, they should be a playoff team. I'm not ready yet to say that they'll win the division because of the pitching injuries and things like that they're dealing with, but their offense is phenomenal. It's hard to pick against the Astros, even though they got worse. Like, they're a constant. And so I think for that reason, I'm going to say the Astros win the division. I think the Rangers make the playoffs, and I think the Mariners will underachieve.
CBS's predictive thing agrees with you. They only like the Rangers for 78 wins. The Rangers are a bit of a bargain this year, too. 3 wild card teams. Give me the Yankees, give me Boston, and give me Minnesota as the 3. I really would like to put Seattle up there, but man, fool me once with Seattle. I want to put them up there every year, and they always disappoint me. So that's what I'll go with in the wild card.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Yankees as one wild card team. I'm not, like I said, I'm not ready yet to put the Red Sox as a playoff team. I want to see their new additions and young players kind of come up to be able to get to that point. So I'm not going to put them in the wild card. And I feel the same way about Minnesota. I'm going to put Detroit in the wild card. And then I'm also going to put the Rangers in the wild card. So I'll go Rangers, Tigers, and Yankees as my wild card teams.
The American League's wide open. Who you send into the World Series?
Oh, man. My heart, I would love to say the Royals. I'm going to say the Orioles are my World Series team in the American League.
I think whatever team ends up there will make a significant trade at the deadline to get better. I will say the Royals because I think they're the most complete team right now. It's wide open in the American League. I don't say that with conviction, but I'll say it for now because I think they have the best player in the league and they're the most complete team in the league when you talk about starting pitching, bullpen, and in the lineup. So I'll put them there now. I think they're absolutely capable of doing it. I think they absolutely could have done it last year. Patrick Boutinier got there had they won that series against the Yankees. So I certainly think they're capable. I'll put them in there. Asterisk, I think they're going to make a big move at the deadline. It's probably in the starting rotation, but we'll see. All right, let's go over to the National League. Here we go. I'll let you start because I want to know why the Braves are like being predicted to win 1 billion games this year. Did the Braves get better than last year? They had
No,
won 89
I
games last year.
I don't think they did. I mean, they got healthier. They'll have Ronald Acuna back. They should have Spencer Strider back, but they lost a lot. I mean, they lost Max Fried. They lost Travis d'Arnaud. They lost a handful of players that either signed somewhere else or they didn't bring back. Really, the only notable addition that they have was Jurickson Profar. Like that's not even really that notable, but that's the main addition that they brought over
In all of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, but has he played that way in his career? Not really. I mean, he's been okay at times, but that's been their major addition. Now, that being said, Chris Sale was a revelation for them last season. They got him on a bargain, not thinking that he was going to be the Chris Sale of the past, and he was. He was phenomenal last year for them, and he'll return this year for the Braves. But no, like I've seen all of those predictive sites also that have them winning a bunch of games, and I'm like, I think they'll be good, but they didn't really do anything of significance this offseason.
I agree with that. I think the Phillies are my team to win that division. I know the Mets have made a bunch of moves, but that never seems to work out for the Mets. So I'm going to take the Phillies. I'm going to take the Phillies to win the division. They'll get their young star pitcher Painter called up at some point here this year, and I already love their lineup and everything else. So I'm going to take the Phillies to win the division. Who's your division pick there?
I am going to pick the Braves. I mean, they won 89 games last year with Acuna and Strider on the shelf. So I think that's probably a big reason why the Braves didn't make a whole lot of notable moves, was because they're like, well, we were basically a 90-win team and a playoff team a season ago, and we'll be healthier this year, so we'll just ride with what we've got. So I'll go ahead and pick them. The Phillies are the kryptonite for the Braves in that division, so I could see them absolutely winning the division. I'm not ready yet to say anything about the Mets because, again, they've spent a lot of money, and to your point, that usually doesn't work well for them. So I'll take the Braves.
All right, so Braves, Phillies in the Central. Let's go to in the East. Let's go to the Central. Man, what do you do with all this mess?
I hate this division, by the way. I hate the NL Central.
I want to go out on a limb here, one way or the other. You know what? I'll go out on a limb. How about this? How about this for a hot take? The Reds will win the NL Central. The Reds. You heard it here first. Give me the Cincinnati Reds.
Do you have any justification for that?
Yeah, I love Ellie De La Cruz. I love Spencer Steer. I think I love some of their young pitchers. I think are really high upside, like Lodolo, like Hunter Green. I just don't love anybody in the division. I think they have a ton of young ascending talent. I couldn't justify very well any of these teams, Tommy. I mean, Milwaukee is the safe bet.
Yeah, I'm going to take the safe bet. I'm going to say Milwaukee just because they've been there before in that division recently. They know how to do it. And I think what was notable for Milwaukee was that they still made the playoffs a season ago without Craig Counsell as their manager. And I think there were many, many, many people that felt like with Counsell going cross division to the Cubs, that was going to be the end of it for Milwaukee, and it wasn't. And so because of that, I think I'm going to go ahead and take Milwaukee just because they are the safe bet. And I don't feel confident enough in any of those teams to be able to go out on a limb.
So the Reds, it's about, and they pitch in the worst pitching park, I think, in baseball. But like Hunter Green, Brady Singer, Nick Martinez, Nick Lodolo is your top four. Like that's pretty good.
And by the way, Rick actually brings up a pretty good point that I forgot about. To your point with the Reds, Terry Francona is the new manager for the Reds.
All
now.
He does,
so I forgot about that.
All he does is go to the playoffs, right, and turn teams around. So that's probably my boldest of all of these picks, is that the Reds will win the NL Central. But I'll stand by it. I mean, anybody going to not pick the Dodgers to win the?
It's absolutely the Dodgers. I mean, there's no other team that you would feel confident enough to pick.
I mean, San Diego's going to be really good, and we'll
they're really good, but they're not the Dodgers.
We'll carry that right into the wild card. So I'll put the Padres in a wild card. But yeah, the Dodgers are going to be near impossible to overtake in a regular season setting. So give me the Padres as one of mine. Man, you want to go an even hotter take and say the Pirates, but I'm not going to do that yet. Man, I'm close. Give me the Braves. Give me the Mets. So that's 3. Padres, Braves, Mets.
I'm going to say the Padres. I'm going to say the Phillies. And then I think my other third, I'm really on the fence about this. My other third wild card team, and this might be my hot take. I'm going to say the Diamondbacks. We haven't talked about the Diamondbacks.
They won
much
89 years ago and went and got Corbin Burns.
I know. So I'm going to say the Diamondbacks are my sleeper team. They're not going to win the division. It's hard to, or nearly impossible when the Dodgers are in there. I think they'll make the wild card this year. They were in the World Series a couple years ago. So I'm going to put them right back in the playoffs.
Yeah, I couldn't, I had a hard time with either them or the Mets. And I'll go Mets, but, the Diamondbacks are very, very good, and they added one of the best pitchers in baseball. So totally get it. Who's going to the World Series in the National League for you?
Dodgers.
Fine.
And the Dodgers are my champ. I mean, they're going to go back-to-back. The Dodgers beat the Orioles probably in 5 games.
I don't want to even say that out loud, so I'll leave that to you. We'll come back. Let's talk hoops when we return on Sports Daily.
"66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust." Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Is the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH. Glad to be with you. We've got a lot coming up in this hour. We'll talk a lot of college hoops. We'll talk some college hoops bets. Talk some Major League Baseball bets. Tim Fitzgerald is going to join us to talk about K-State, what's going on in the portal with the Wildcats. Glad to be here. A couple of video comments for you in our last conversation. Mike chiming in on the Royals. Tommy and I both have them going to the playoffs. I got them going to the World Series. The Royals will be a big winner this year. They showed their talent last season and got better, I believe. Mike, one of the great Royals fans out there in the Sports Daily universe. Rick, when we were talking about the bullpen, says they should want those innings out of the starters. You can't go to the bullpen for 4 or 5 innings every game or they'll be toast in July or August. I don't think anybody, Rick, is saying, 5 innings out of the bullpen last night, but your point is good. And I want the starters to go deep into games too. I just don't want the team to have to rely on them as much as they did last year. And when you get into those 6th innings and things are a little dicey, now you've got good options to come in and relief versus forcing a starter to try to work through it. But I think we're all high on the Royals. There's not anybody that watches baseball, and especially that watches the Royals last year, that doesn't come into this season with just a ton of optimism. Let's talk a little college hoops. One of the other ways you can get in touch with us is through our voice messaging system on the Odyssey app. You just push the little microphone. You can leave a message. We can play them out over the air. Let's go to one now. This is, I believe it's Lisa, Tommy, Lisa, that wants to chime in on the Shockers and Quincy Ballard leaving the program. Go ahead, Max.
Hi, Tommy and Jacob. This is Lisa. I just had a comment after reading the wonderful article written by Taylor Eldridge on Matt Breyer. I know that Coach Mills is not yet in the hot seat, but with the potential departure of Quincy Ballard, we all know that retention is part of the sign of a strong program and trust in the coach. So I'm probably not the only one who has thought maybe Matt Breyer might be a future consideration for the Shockers. Wondered what you guys thought. Thanks for the great show. Bye.
Appreciate it, Lisa. Great Shocker fan. Has been for a long time. What do you, it's an interesting question. I think that yes, the seat is hot, right? Like the seat is hot for Coach Mills. It has to be, right? Doesn't it? SFA, Matt Breyer just went to Stephen F. Austin. If he has a good year there and the seat's hot, I absolutely think that's a conversation that will be had. I think Shocker fans should be excited in that sense that you should be excited that he got a job anyway. He's done a great job. He was at North Texas, and then I believe came over with McCaslin to Tech, has done a nice job there, and now is head coach at Stephen F. Austin. That was the launching pad for Brad Underwood. It's a good program. So, yeah, I think you keep that in your mind. I think connecting them, Tommy, like point A to point B, it's a little premature for that. Yeah, but to the other point, yes, Coach Mills' seat's going to be hot. I mean, they were 8th place in the American this year, and they just lost Ballard. That we hope they can keep Washington, but is 6th place in the American good enough next year? Like I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, and there are other external things at play too. Like, we talked about it before, the amount of money that's being paid out to other people to not coach at Wichita State. I mean, that adds up. And so is there even, the financial, wherewithal to be able to make a change like that? So there are other things at play too, but make no mistake about it. I love Matt Breyer. I think he's a phenomenal coach. I loved watching him play at Wichita State. I was here when he played for Mark Turgeon and they made a Sweet 16 run, and he was, the floppy haired kid that could hit shots. And he was a ton of fun to watch, and watching him grow as a coach. He started as a student assistant or graduate assistant under Greg Marshall. And then he was really able to latch on with Grant McCaslin. And that's when he's, skyrocketed from North Texas to Texas Tech and now Stephen F. Austin. And there is that connection to Wichita State. So look, I would be lying if I said that I haven't thought about that before. Like, man, he has had an ascent in the coaching ranks. He's a young up and coming coach that is clearly attracting attention as now a first-time head coach at Stephen F. Austin. That thought has absolutely crossed my mind that in the future, potentially, and there could be a variety of things that happen, there could be a lot of success from Wichita State, and Paul Mills could choose to go on and go somewhere else. Like, there are a lot of different ways that, this could play out, but make no mistake about it. I really like Matt Breyer a ton. I don't know if it's fair right now to say that, that's, to your point, like connecting the dots from point A to point B right now with that regard, but down the line in the future, absolutely.
Well, yeah, look, like right now, the goal is for Paul Mills to bring in a great class and the Shockers to be really good next year. Is Matt Breyer a guy who could at some point in his life be a coaching candidate for the Shockers? You better believe it, right? Like he will, if he continues on his trajectory, and he's never been a head coach before, so there's going to be some time needed there. But I think we're looking at two different things. The reality for the Shockers is they finished 10th in the American and they finished 8th in the American. That is not good enough, right? Should they have been better than 8th in the American this year? Yes, they should have been. They were clearly better than the 8th best team in that league. But that's where they finished. And at some point, you are what your record says you are. They had a really unfortunate start to conference play now 2 years in a row. And they basically have to start all over with the roster. So we haven't seen that before, right? Now we have to see if Paul Mills calls himself Portal Paul, which is really funny.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I was about to say to that point, he said it kind of tongue in cheek, like joking, and it is funny, Portal Paul, blah, blah, blah. You got to be Portal Paul. Like,
yeah, I don't even know how much he was joking.
Right.
He is a very, very smart basketball mind. I greatly enjoy the conversations we have with Paul Mills. I root for his success. I think it can be a great fit long term, but it has to be a fit first. And right now, finishing 10th and 8th in the AAC, just not good enough. And so I hope that they can bring a bunch of players in here that fit around Corey Washington, because they're able to retain Corey Washington and they have a nice run next year. And we can do some of the building that we know needs to happen, but the building has to start somewhere, Tommy. And they finished 10th and 8th in the American and they don't bring anybody back. So like, what is an expectation? I don't know. But if there isn't just a little warmth to the seat after a 10th and 8th place finish, what is the expectation internally? Right? Like there has to be, because that's not good enough. Everybody knows that's not good enough. You can say it however you want to say it and look at wins and all. It doesn't matter. You've got to be a threat to make the NCAA tournament. We think you should be an NCAA tournament team just about every year you play. You at least have to be a threat to make the NCAA tournament.
And look, I think that to be fair, I know like we can say 10th and 8th in the American, and you're not wrong about that. But to be fair, more wins in year 2 than year 1. A postseason bid in year 2. There wasn't one in year 1.
That's right.
Right. So like there are some things to hang your hat on, but again, you can't just stop there. Right now, I mean, outside of Corey Washington, who hasn't made his decision, you're bringing nobody back. Like, and it very well may be that he doesn't come back either, and then you're almost totally starting from scratch outside of incoming freshmen and redshirt underclassmen. They've got to lean heavily on projections on portal players and fit for portal players. And you basically have to build a roster. I said it, I think it was yesterday or maybe Tuesday when we were talking about them last, that depending on the way you want to look at it, whether it's glass half full or glass half empty, you could say, man, they've got to replace at minimum 80% of their starting lineup. And like, that's bad. Or you could look at it and say, well, it gives him a clean slate. He can be an artist and he can start totally over and maybe put together a team that blows everybody out of the water. Like we don't know that yet. That's what makes it so difficult.
But it's hard to imagine. They're not going like Memphis goes and poaches all the best players out of the league. Shockers aren't in a position, we don't think, to do something like that, right? So now it's got to be a little more unknown than that. And because teams start over all the time, but we have a pretty good indication that KU is going to go get a bunch of really good players, right? Like they got to start over. They're going to go get a bunch of great players. We don't know what Wichita State's going to do. They didn't have to go get anybody last year, really. I mean, they brought in Corey Washington, but McGinnis didn't work. Justin Hill didn't work. Mate didn't work.
I mean, it sounds like they're working on trying to bring Mate back next season.
Okay.
Working on I think a waiver for him to play again. I mean, if he sees the court next year, he had better take a major step forward in his development.
There's a lot of work to do, and it's fine. And I'm with you. Yes, progress. Progress was 100% made. But the reality is this is Shocker basketball. And Shocker basketball cannot be satisfied with NIT bids. Is it progress from the first year? Absolutely. 100% believe that and think that the arrow is pointed in the right direction. I've said it 1,000 times. But 10th and 8th place in the AAC is not good enough. So what happens in year 3 is way too early to even remotely consider what's going to happen in year 3 because we don't even know who the players are. And we won't for a little while. So Portal Paul is going to get to work. And he and his staff are going to work very hard and see if they can't bring some players in that make that next step. And I hope that they do it. And I'm optimistic. I think they can go get players. That's the biggest step of the program in the last years. Now you at least know they have the ability to go get players. Paul Mills walked into a situation where that wasn't necessarily the case. Okay, so like that's progress for sure. But now we need the progress to win some games. So let's come back. Let's talk about the games tonight in the Sweet 16. What about some bets maybe? What do we like in here? We'll talk about it next.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily, and we are glad to be here with you on this Thursday, opening day. The Sweet 16 is back. You can go back on the Odyssey app and listen for our preseason predictions. We had that in the first hour. It's always right there for you. Good luck,
We didn't do any bets, any baseball bets.
I did
futures
one.
bets or anything.
So-
We didn't talk about any. There's one that's out there for me that I want to bring up really quick. How do you feel about the win total over under for the White Sox? It's the lowest ever.
Okay.
53.5 is the over under. And I mean, how do you not take the over on that, right? Like the White Sox are bad. They were historically bad a season ago, but that's criminally low.
Criminally. I hate those kinds of bets. I remember when we first got betting, it was right before football season. It was during baseball season, but it was right before football season. And I had all kinds of like player props over yards. And I'm like, man, I'm getting like no juice on these. It's like minus 130, and I'm waiting an entire season to see if my $10 bet cashes. Like, no, thank you. So win total bets, like, I don't like them because you got to wait the whole year. What I do like are where you get odds. Like, I can tell you right now, I have an odds bet on the Royals to win the World Series. I have an odds bet on the Rangers to win the World Series. The Royals are like 40-1, Tommy. 40-1 right now. I don't know what we're missing with the Royals. I cannot figure it out. I need to go see what they are to make the World Series. I think it's like 15-1. That tells you what baseball thinks of the Dodgers, by the way. I think it's like 15-1. If you wanted to go 3-1 to win the division, at least give me some odds if I'm going to have to wait that long.
Yeah, on win totals, it's really hard to get plus money. There's one bet I like, though, on win totals, and that is that any team will win over 106.5 games. And I'm looking at the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers, I would think would win more than 100, and they'd win 107 or more games. I know that's difficult to do for sure, but it's the Dodgers, and you can get plus money on that. That's about the only one that I like for any team in Major League Baseball to win 106.5 games over that. I like that bet a lot.
What is the odds on that?
It's plus 150. So I mean, it's not great, but it's plus money. You can't get plus money on win totals.
Yeah, that's a big number. What's the under? Is it juice down?
No, it's the same.
I'd probably go no on that. I'll tell you what bet I'm making today, and I haven't gone through my same game parlays and all that because not all the lines are out till we see lineups and everything. I'll tell you one that I will take today, though, at 5-1. Give me a Corey Seager home run. Give me a Corey at 5-1. Give me a Corey Seager home run. I haven't seen what Bobby's are yet. I don't think I saw that line yet. I was gonna do a Burger bomb. You know, the Rangers added Jake Burger, but his odds were only.
You know, they've got the
Seager at 5-1. Give me Seager.
They're facing the debut of Garrett Crochet in Boston, and he's fantastic. He was the only thing that was even remotely positive about the White Sox a season ago. And he's the opening day starter for Boston. That's going to be the guy can throw some heat. That's going to be tough for Seager. I mean, if anybody can do it, Corey Seager can. But I don't think I like that.
I love it. I love it. He's a dark horse MVP candidate too, by the way. I think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to win it this year. But Seager's a dark horse. Seager could stay healthy ever. Like you extrapolate his numbers over full seasons, and he is wild how good he is.
I think I'm gonna do a strikeout parlay with Paul Skeens and Chris Sale. I've got that, going today.
Yeah, it's early in the year. How deep do these guys get to go into games? It's tough. I don't.
I think we lost Jacob. We're talking bets in Major League Baseball. We'll get him back as quickly as we can. I do like the parlay, the strikeout parlay there with both Paul Skeens and Chris Sale. And I understand, like, it's early in the season. It's the first game. Like, how much are they going to let, these guys go throughout the course of the game? But, I mean, come on. Like, it's, two guys that were, Cy Young candidates in the National League a season ago. So, I like the fact that, they could do that. Max, I guess we're going to get Jacob on the phone. I think he just lost internet at his location. So he's going to be calling in. So once he calls, we'll patch him in via phone. But I mean, there are plenty of good, long range bets out there for sure that we can take a look at. I don't know. I mean, I feel like from an opening day perspective, betting wise, you've got really, really crazy matchups. You've got really great starting pitchers that are out there right now, including Skeens for the Pirates on the road at Miami and others. I think we've got Jacob back now on the phone. Jacob, you there?
Yeah, you got it. I got lost internet here at the house. I'm not sure what's going on.
Where did you pay your bill? I think that's the first question we got to ask.
We are talking about making some Major League Baseball bets, but yeah, I think I'm square. I think we're all square there. Maybe I need to hit one of these bets so that I can.
That'd be helpful for sure. I mean, we were talking obviously about the baseball, the opening day baseball bets. Are there other ones that you put on?
Not yet. You were talking pitching. It's hard this year because, like, yes, pitchers are usually ahead of the hitters. The weather's colder, all that stuff. But then it's like, how much rope do the pitchers get right out of the gate. Like how deep into a game are these managers going to let them go? I think it gets a little tricky there. But yes, strikeouts might be a good way to attack that. I don't have anything else yet, but I will. Because what I'll do today is I'll go through the sites and I'll say, okay, here's all these crazy, because they throw crazy bonuses at you on these first days to try and hook you and do all that stuff. So I'll probably go check those out. I'm going to put a same game parlay on the Royals. I will probably utilize Bobby Witt Jr. total bases. I will for sure utilize Jonathan India to do something because I think he's looking to come out with a bang. And then, yeah, it's and then I'll take the Royals to win it and see where that gets me. Reagan's, I don't know what to do with it because I don't like how deep into a game do you think these, and I'm trying to remember historically, I know pitchers do well early in a year, but do they get to go deep into a game as I lose the connection? I think I just got it back. Let me see if I can look at what Cole Reagan's did last year.
I think you let him loose. I mean, I think I think you let him loose. You let him go. I don't think it's like you're on a short leash on opening day. I don't see that being a reality.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to find the game logs for all of 2024. I can go by. This is impossible. We're not going to do this live over the air. So yeah, I'd probably take some Reagans there. Yeah, I mean, give it to me. The Guardians lineup is they got a couple of really good hitters, but I don't think that's going to be the strength of their team this year. Didn't they lose Naylor? They let Naylor go. So yeah, I mean, maybe Reagan's doing that is a good way. But what do you have, Tommy? As I'm going to reconnect to the video stream here now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my strikeout props, the parlay with Skeens and Sale today. But then, you could also probably add in several other pitchers in there because you've got major guys that are, starting today. Zach Wheeler, is on the bump for the Phillies. You've got really big time pitchers. So you could do a all pitcher parlay. I haven't done that quite yet, but and it might just be like it might not be strikeouts. It might be, I don't know, just something else I can do with those pitchers is kind of what I'm looking at. Because typically on opening day, that's where we see, those top aces shine.
It is. And the hitters are going to be behind. So you got to be careful with that too. Like taking a bunch of, that's why I like total bases. I kind of like, but then you learn a hard lesson last year that total bases don't include walks or whatever it was. All right. So I got it. I found it. Thanks, Fantasy Baseball. Here's what Reagan's did on March 28th last year. 6 innings. He went 6 innings in 3 of his first 4 starts. I'm going to guess that might be something to attack today. Can he get to 6 innings? I would bet you that they put his innings line at about 5 2/3. I don't know if you've looked at that with him yet, but that's a way to do that. Innings for him or innings from like the really established, we trust this guy pitchers. He would be one of them. So yeah, his pitcher props right now. They've got him at strikeouts at 6. He started last year going 9, 7, 5, and 8 strikeouts out of the gate. So that probably feels okay. Over under 5.5. They don't have what I'm looking at now. They don't have innings up. 4.5 hits is probably, I wouldn't mess with that. But yeah, strikeouts doesn't look too bad the way he goes early in a year. Innings when the line actually gets put out there, if it does, probably a good way to go. I could get on board with you making a Reagan's bet in there.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think he's going to go, assuming he doesn't get into, early trouble or whatever, I think he'll have a fairly long leash.
And he's been fine in the spring. So that's it though. Like, again, I told you I'd taken a Seager home run. I'm just going to go find the bonuses. I'm with you. I will take what I took a lot last year. It was pretty fruitful. I will put Rangers, Royals winning together. That was a good bet. I did a lot. And last year, obviously, you got more of a discount or a bargain on that. You won't get that as much this year, but I kind of like doing that. And like you said, Crochet's on the mound. Can the Rangers get to the young starter? Maybe some butterflies there in his first start. We'll find out. Basketball betting is, though, where we really will have more people involved, I think, tonight in the Sweet 16. Alabama 5.5-point favorites over BYU here. Boy, shootout city. That over-under, we mentioned it, 176.5. I don't remember seeing a college basketball total that high. So am I going to take that? Absolutely not. If I had to, I'd take the under, even though I think it will be a shootout. That is a shootout. You're talking like low 90s, high 80s, both teams kind of shootout there. But I'm gonna take BYU in those points, though, Tommy. I know you will too, because you have them in the Final Four. It's almost like, do you just take BYU? Do you just take them on the money line? Because if they come out,
that's my easiest bet of the night. Is I'm taking BYU on the money line. I haven't done it yet. I may actually do BYU on the money line and the under together, just to kind of juice up those odds a little bit more. Because I think that over under total, I get it, like I understand, but I don't think it's going to get to that point.
That's a crazy
so
total.
I'm gonna go BYU on the money line, and I'm gonna add in the under.
Okay, Maryland, Florida. This is my favorite of the day, which is Florida -6 over Maryland. I think Florida kind of got their, I don't want to call it dud game, but they got their slow game out of the way and they survived it. I think Florida's 6 points better than Maryland. So I'm going to take Florida there. That's my actual favorite bet of the day.
Well, and this is where Florida has, a chance to really prove themselves. Like they've kind of been, I think, a little under the radar, at least as far as all 4 number 1 seeds. They really have not, I don't think, gotten the kind of attention that, even Houston has gotten, or Auburn, or especially Duke has gotten throughout the course of this tournament. I like Florida to flex a little bit on Maryland. And so I agree with you. I like that. I like the laying the points with Florida tonight.
Arizona, Duke. This is the one I have absolutely no idea what to do with. Duke is a 9.5-point favorite over Arizona. My gut says to take Duke -9.5. Arizona feels like way too good of a team, though, on a neutral court to ever get 9.5 points. This is one I'm staying away from. I have no idea what to do with this game. None.
So I actually have Arizona beating Duke in my bracket. I've got Arizona going to the Elite Eight. And that's primarily because of what I watched from Arizona down the stretch in the regular season in the Big 12 and then in the Big 12 tournament. But I mean, of course, Duke is Duke, and they could win a national championship. They're that good of a team, and they've got that kind of athleticism, not just with Cooper Flagg, but with Tyrese Proctor and the other guys that they've got on that roster for sure. So while I do have Arizona, and I'm hoping that Arizona can get the upset, I don't think I'm going to bet this game.
My second favorite is the next one, and that's Texas Tech -5.5 against Arkansas. I get it with Arkansas. It's Cal. They're healthy. They play great defense, all those things. Tommy, I think Tech is awesome. I think Tech is so dang good. I'm taking Tech here. I'm comfortable with 5.5. I'll just lay it. It's my second favorite. So Florida and Tech are my 2 favorite bets. I like BYU. I like them plus the points. And then Arizona, Duke, I got nothing. But go Tech for me all the way.
Yeah, I'm taking Tech as well. In fact, I've got Tech as one of my other Final Four teams in the country. And so I've got them moving on for sure. I think Grant McCasland is a hell of a coach, and they put on a show here in town last week in both of their games. I think the magic with Arkansas will wear off a little bit. Everybody's calling them a Cinderella. They're not a Cinderella. They've got John Calipari. They've got
they're healthy now.
They're healthy, and they've got incredible talent. Like, this is not a out of nowhere team. They've got a Hall of Fame coach, and they've got really high caliber players. They just happen to be a 10 seed because they underachieved throughout the course of the season, and they were dealing with injuries. But I think it wears off for them tonight. I've got Tech moving on. I think that tonight and tomorrow night, but especially tonight, because you've got 3 of the 4 games featuring Big 12 teams. This is an opportunity for the Big 12 to say, look, SEC, like you had a lot of teams make the tournament, but we're the ones that are actually going to move on and move forward. So I really like that chance. I really like that opportunity for the Big 12 to have a good showing tonight.
This is it. That they're not going to and I'm glad you brought that up. And we can talk to Fitz about this in the next segment, Tim Fitzgerald, our KState Insider, but a Big 12, homer like we are. This is it, because you don't have the total teams. The SEC dominated that, but you don't have any of them playing each other. You've got you've got two Big 12 versus SEC matchups, right? So there's two opportunities. One of those you're the favorite. One of those you're the underdog by the exact same margin. Then you've got the heavy underdog with Arizona, although it's not an SEC matchup. I mean, look, they got a good chance as anybody, and then Houston represents tomorrow, of course, against Purdue. But I think there's a real good chance. You've got three Big 12 teams in the Elite Eight.
I totally think so. I think that obviously out of the four, the most unlikely is Arizona beating Duke. But if you can get out of the Sweet 16, 3-1, at that point you're probably hoping that the SEC, the remaining five teams, they're maybe, getting two of them or three of them in the Elite Eight. And then you've got, 6 of the 8 teams represented by both the Big 12 and the SEC. And then it kind of goes from there. So I think there's a really, really, really strong opportunity tonight for at least the Big 12 to go 2-1.
I do too. And maybe 3-0. Who knows? Who knows with Arizona? Didn't Caleb Love break Duke's heart the year North Carolina made their run?
Yeah.
So, there's a little of that there. I think it's unlikely. I can't wait. Tom, these games are going to be so good. All of them are going to be so good. I hope that Duke doesn't. Here's the two things that I really hope for today as much as anything else. I'm going to give you 3. I hope Texas Tech wins. I hope Arizona keeps it close against Duke. And I hope BYU keeps it close against Alabama. I love BYU like you do. I have this fear that the bad BYU shows up at some point and they get boat raced by one of these teams. We've seen that out of BYU this year.
They certainly haven't yet in this tournament.
No, they haven't. I'm not saying they have in this tournament. I'm just saying this season. Like, there have been times for them where it's like, ooh, like, where did that come from? Remember they had a loss at Cincinnati by like 18 points or something. Like, it was like, what was that? That's what I don't want to see. And if they're at their best, they can beat anybody in the country. I love it. Let's talk more about the Big 12. Let's talk about K-State in the portal. Tim Fitzgerald joins next.
"66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of it's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
All right, and we welcome in our pal Tim Fitzgerald, GoPowerCat.com, at Life of Fitz on X, our KState Insider. Fitz, you ready for the Sweet 16?
I am. I'm kind of excited about it. I think it's mostly because I think this is huge for the Big 12.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what we were
there's
just
some
talking about.
really good teams. I think all 4 teams can make it to the Final Four, not together. That'd be kind of fun, but impossible. And you know what? I just think this is important. I think it's important for the conference and where it stands right now. And plus, these are great basketball teams to watch.
Who do you like out of the Big 12 tonight? I mean, I know that the heavy underdog is Arizona, obviously, but BYU, I mean, they've been shooting lights out throughout the tournament. I mean, what do you like from the Big 12?
Well, if I back up and look at the teams, I think most likely to make the Final Four, I come up with, of course, Houston, which plays tomorrow apparently, and BYU. I just think there's something about how this BYU team's constructed that could get them to the Final Four. It took an elite team like Houston to beat them, and that's the only loss they've had in, I don't know, the last 15 games. I don't know what the number is now. And they just have a real sense of self. They know how to win. They got guys that can just flat out play. And they're really well tied together offensively and defensively. And I think that's what you need to survive at this time of year. And I think they really could make a run to the Final Four.
How much weight do you put into how deep, like the SEC had a really good run up to this point, but they had 14 teams in. Like what is the finish line? Because I don't like totally basing what we saw from a we've seen it for years out of the Big 12. Like if the SEC loses a bunch of these games, I don't think it takes away from how good they were this year. But like, what is the threshold here where it really stands out? Is it the Sweet 16? Is it even further than that?
Yeah, I think when you're in the standing of the Big 12, you need someone in the Final Four, need a couple in the Elite Eight. And look, the SEC was set up for success, and they found failure out of that because anyone who was seated a little bit lower, other than Arkansas, has been losing. And look, when you're a 1 or 2 seed, you got to work hard to lose in the first 2 rounds. You just do. And they've been set up for success by being seeded the highest, and we'll see how far that takes them. I think they're really good basketball teams, but as an entire conference, this has been a joke. They're not, from top to bottom, the best. You never put 6 and 12 teams in the NCAA tournament again. It was a shameful act by the committee.
Well, while we're talking Sweet 16 fits, the women, K-State women in the Sweet 16 this weekend, it was interesting development with Juju Watkins going down for USC over the weekend. And, so Kansas State will face USC without their top player, without the top player in college basketball this weekend. Obviously opens the door even further for a path for Kansas State to make it to the Final Four. But what are some things that we should be looking for in this matchup?
Well, this was as sizable of an impact on a team that you could imagine, losing Juju Watkins. And there's this strange mixture when you talk to K-State folks, players, coaches, even reporters, of like, this is just horrific that this happened at this point of her career, and she's such an elite player, and everyone's looking forward to playing her. But deep down, you're also saying it's our job to advance in this tournament, and that just took a big step forward. Guys, the spread for this game, I don't even know what it was before. Why bother checking? But now without Juju Watkins, it's 1.
Yeah.
Wow. It is 1. And this has totally changed the entire context of this game.
Yeah, it opened at 1.5, which surprised me. I thought K-State would be favored, honestly.
Yeah,
and
really?
they're 1-point dogs, but
yeah, I tell you what, I don't know how Vegas came up with this number at all, because they haven't played much without her. And Coach Jeff Mitty mentioned this yesterday, that it's hard to find film to scout of meaningful minutes they played without her. Because usually when she didn't play, they were just smoking someone. So I don't know if we know anything, but I do know this. I watched that team without Juju Watkins absolutely destroy Mississippi State, a team good enough to be a 9 seed, which on the women's side doesn't mean you're great, but it means you're worthy of being, in the middle of the pack of the tournament. And they got beat by 40. So this is a really dangerous team. They're incredibly talented, and that's why they're a number 1 seed with or without Juju Watkins.
By the way, we'll have that game for you, Tom, and just let me know. We're carrying the K-State women this weekend right here on the radio. So that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's fantastic. We'll have more on that tomorrow. All right, Fitz, let's talk about the K-State men then.
Okay.
Paul Mills called himself Portal Paul here. Everybody's in the portal. Let me start here before we get into the specifics of it. Does the K-State collective have the same appetite to spend money this year than they did a year ago, from what you're hearing?
Yeah, I'm hearing I think the money's there. I think they want a different approach, maybe a little more caution. I'm pleased. Look, people always are saying stuff like, well, we need to redirect this NIL money. It's not your money to redirect. It is boosters' money, literally. That's how skewed this system is currently. It's literally wealthy alums putting money where they want. So you don't get to choose. It's their money. They get to choose this, and they're still back in basketball, and I think that's cool. That's great. Let's see if they have better success with a different type of approach here. And to get to your next question, I'm stunned nobody from K-State has entered the portal yet. Stunned, which means they're trying to scratch and claw and keep guys together. But you would think that some dudes would just be out, but they haven't yet. And maybe the coaches have just advised them, look, if you want to leave, do it. But there's 800 other guys going in today. And why don't you wait? Why don't you wait until some of this traffic clears and you stand out a little bit going into the portal? But I don't know. But I think K-State, I like the fact that they want to retain a lot of this roster, but that also should be confused with everyone needs to stay, because I think, you need to clear some guys out to bring in some new blood. You just do.
Well, and I think that brings up a good point. I mean, if none of the players have entered the portal at this point, then it makes it difficult to, understand who they might be targeting that is
Right.
currently in the portal. Are you hearing any rumbles of potential incoming guys, or is that quiet also because we don't know who's leaving?
They've been linked to some players, a guy from Robert Morris and some others, but nothing of great substance at this point. It's so early. Guys, you haven't been able to contact people in the portal technically until Monday. When people are putting out lists of 20 schools they've been contacted by, I'm like, this is just such a corrupted system right now, because you haven't been contacted. Your agent has been contacted. And it's insanity what's going on right now. But there'll be plenty of players. There'll be plenty of time. And we saw K-State panic a little bit last year. And I'm just telling you, just take your time and make good decisions. Quit speed dating as best you can, and try to find someone that's really going to fit your program.
Can I propose, Fitz? Can we have, as we've now had what looks like it'll be 4 coaches basically know their next spot before their team's done playing. Can we just can we put a moratorium on, if we're going to do this with the players and set rules up and penalties, can we do the same thing for coaches?
This is obnoxious. And I understand what's going on. It's the portal. This is all driven by the portal. There's this sense that if we don't get a coach in place right now because the portal's open, we're going to lose all the good players. Maybe you'll lose some players that you could have gotten, but there's just so many players in the portal. But I understand if you're like a West Virginia, you can't afford to have a position just wide open right now. And well, yeah, this whole portal thing has just caused so many dominoes to fall the wrong way. It's obnoxious.
Wouldn't it be great if we just delayed the start of the portal season until after the season is done? Doesn't that just seem like the easiest thing to do?
In theory, yeah. But look what happened. The portal wasn't open, and we already had people announcing they're in the portal, and here's all the schools that have contacted me. At some point, you're moving the cheating around. You're not preventing the cheating by now you can pay players. Now they're going to cheat and how they can pay the players. So it's I don't know.
Do we even want to call it cheating? I mean, because there's the old adage, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, you have to do it now. You have
absolutely. And why not? Because NCAA is not doing a damn thing about it.
Because they'll lose in court.
Yeah, don't give a kid a candy bar, but offer his agent $3 million. I mean, what are we even doing here anymore? But yeah, this is just utter chaos, and it can't be contained by the NCAA.
It will be. It will be eventually. It'll be contained by the leagues. They'll put players under contract. Bill Self said it. I'm with him. It's not going to be that far down the road. 3 more years of this, they'll have everything settled legally, I think, and we'll get to some normalcy. I hope in all of this. You still like Houston as your champion, Fitz?
I do. I didn't see anything to dissuade me from that choice. I think they're just so well put together. And getting back to my BYU point, they handled BYU. And I think BYU is really good. So they have this gear where they can just absolutely dismantle really good, tightly fit teams. BYU is well constructed, and they took them apart. Yeah, I think Houston, unless they just run into the wrong matchup on the wrong day, I think they're going to probably get this done. I love them.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, Duke's going to be a challenge. Duke's just sitting there.
Let me ask you this: Do you begin to question Duke based on what the ACC did as a whole in the tournament? You start to wonder.
You mean their results? A little bit. Yeah, I think it was a down year for that league, but I mean they've backed it up in the tournament so far.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're properly tested, if they really went through much in the ACC this season, because it just hasn't been a very good conference. But I will take Mr. Flagg any day of the week. I rode an elevator with him, so
Kansas
probably
Kansas beat him. If that tells you anything.
Yeah, like 6 months ago.
Yeah, Flagg was a little different then, but if you're looking for optimism, Kansas beat him. Yeah, It is what Houston, they will not have played a team as tough as Houston, I don't think. Houston's got to get through Purdue. Purdue's the team I know the least about out of this group. It's not even close. So we'll see.
That's funny.
Fitz?
Me too. Yeah, that's funny. Exactly. I don't even know anything about Purdue this year. They had
I
a big tall guy.
nothing. Absolutely nothing about Purdue. All right, Fitz, what do you guys have going at GoPowerCat.com?
We're waiting for spring football, to be real honest. I've never encountered a period of time like this. Luckily, we're doing a lot of women's basketball coverage. We put up a really cool pregame podcast. We did a full what we do for football for the Sweet 16 for the women. It went up today. So we're going to be tracking the women and baseball until we get a little spring football in a week or so.
Find it at GoPowerCat.com. Follow Fitz at Life of Fitz on social. Appreciate it.
Thank you, boys.
There goes Tim Fitzgerald. Yeah, K-State women right here on KFH this weekend. That's fantastic.
We got it. And, if they win, we'll carry the Elite Eight game, and then we'll continue to carry that. So shout out to Tony Dusing getting all of that secured. We have not, I don't think we've aired any women's games this season on KFH, but we're picking up Sweet 16 and the remainder, as long as they win, we'll keep airing it here on KFH.
I just remember, everybody, where they were before Aoka Lee got hurt.
Yeah.
Like, this was a Final Four caliber team, and they appear to be healthy now.
And they've got a ton of talent around Lee. She's the straw that stirs the drink, but Serena Sundell is phenomenal, and Tamara Poindexter is outstanding. They've got a ton of great players on that team, and Jeff Mittie is a hell of a coach.
Yep, he is. All right, we got a little bit more to go here on Sports Daily. Don't go away.